Hey everyone, welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are going to be looking at the DC Comics Multiverse line Super Friends wave of action figures. Very cool wave. I love the homage that it's paying back to that classic Super Friends TV show. We have here in the front window box all the figures in the wave. So you got Batman, Green Lantern, Superman, and Aquaman. You get the artwork down here in the bottom corner that harkens back to those days. If we take a look here on the side, we also get some pretty cool artwork from back in those days. So that I love that they did. And then on the back, it actually has, again, their Super Friends pose with that rainbow background. And each one has just the rest of the figures in the wave. So I think that is very cool. But enough about that. We're going to go ahead and get these open. We're going to get a better look at each of the figures. I'm going to do articulation just on one because these are all essentially the same body mold. So we're really just going to be looking at any of the paint details and then some of the head sculpts and things like that. But enough about that. Let's get these guys open and check out the Super Friends. And here are the Super Friends out of the packaging. And, you know, I actually really like these more than I thought I would for being somewhat basic figures and essentially redos of the original DC UC figures. But these are actually really cool. I love the cloth capes on Batman and Superman, and I love how they attach with the little neck clip. That just throws right back to the days of the DC Superpower figures, and I'll show you what I mean by that here at one point with the comparisons. We do get some accessories with some of the characters, which is cool. Like we get Aquaman's Trident, we get a Batarang, as well as the grapple gun for Batman. We do not get a lantern for Green Lantern, and I feel like that would have been such an easy addition that it bums me out that we don't get it. But you know, whatever. I guess there. You know, I would have traded a power battery for a grapple gun any day. Green Lantern's my all-time favorite hero. I know you can't tell yet because this is the first Green Lantern figure I've done, but. You'll notice in the background, too, we also get this really cool backdrop for each character. One side spells out Super Friends, which, here, let's see if I can, nope, they're all going to fall down. One side spells out Super Friends. Unfortunately, they're a little bit spaced apart, but the other side, which has the peg and says Super Friends on the base, the other side has this awesome artwork that I think is actually sweet, and we get that reflective material, and it's pretty thick cardboard too. So I mean, it's not flimsy or anything, so it feels good. But that is really cool. So you have two ways to display it with either the Super Friends logo or the individual character background. And I gotta say, I kind of like these more. I think these are awesome. And I know for a fact that I recognize these. That pose for Batman I recognize, and that pose for Green Lantern I feel like I recognize, like it's off of a cover or something. But anyways, let's go ahead and get a closer look here on some of these figures, and then we'll kind of get a look at some of the accessories that come with each one as well. So starting first here with Aquaman, we see a pretty basic head sculpt, nothing too fancy, and it looks like they were kind of trying to keep that cartoon feel. They didn't really bother painting the whites of the eyes, just the pupils. Got a little bit of overpaint there on his hairline, on his forehead. That's not a huge deal, but yeah, I mean, the head sculpt is pretty, like I said, pretty basic. His hair is actually very wavy looking, you know, which I think is kind of cool. It almost looks like it would be potentially mussed up while he's underwater there, so that's pretty neat. The body sculpt for all of these, I'm not going to go over the body sculpt on any of them after this, but it's a very basic, you know, musculature there. You know, nothing too crazy. I mean, you do get some different belts, of course, with the different characters, but the muscles and everything like that are nothing special. The style that they did for Aquaman here, I love it. You got the occasional scales painted on there, which is very much like the old cartoon. I love that. You do get the Aquaman logo on the belt, which is another cool thing, of course. And you get the classic fins on the glove and the fins on the back of the legs. So that is definitely very cool. Very similar to his DC Superheroes counterpart that back in the 80s, you got the same fins on the legs and the arms there. So pretty cool. Same, you know, the belt look. I think the only thing I thought this one, oh yeah, you squeeze his legs or squeeze his arms together and his legs kick. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, you can definitely see the similarities that they were going for, where this was almost similar to the old figures as well as based on the old show. I mean, those eyes are almost a giveaway, just the very basic pupils and the line drawn. So very cool. And checking out Aquaman's Trident, there's not a whole lot going on with it. It's pretty basic. I mean, it does look good. It's one solid color, and I mean, he can hold on to it. So, yeah, not a whole lot of detail to it, and not a whole lot of effort, but whatever. It's essentially a set piece at this point. Take a look at Superman next. So his head sculpt is pretty interesting. I feel like, I don't know, his head feels too, or his face rather, just looks too long to me. You do get the signature S swirl there at the top of his hair, which I think looks good. But I don't know, his face just seems off. I can't really describe it. His S logo on his chest actually came out looking real good. As I was talking about with the cape, it's just like a push clip that goes around the neck, which is very cool. And then you do get this logo on the back, which again, very cool. And it is a cloth cape. And then we have the belt, of course. And this obviously is the old school, so you still have the red underwear. And then he does have the red boots as well. So again, pretty basic look to the figure. Not a whole lot of painting going on. And talking about that cape again, now this guy, I have had this toy forever, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's the same style of cape, and I can't believe through the years that I still have that push pin on there. This one, I think, yeah, you pushed his legs, and he punched. So I know we're not supposed to be reviewing these, but yeah, you can see, again, very similar. The only difference is they did have those very vibrant blue eyes on this one. And definitely went with that same black pupils on that one. But again, you can see that design is very similar to that 80s style that they had back in the day. So very cool. And let's go ahead and do Green Lantern next. So my favorite character, we got Hal Jordan here. And this is definitely an exact copy of the DC Hal Jordan that we had before. Not that the other ones weren't, but I don't have any of the other ones. I do have the Green Lantern one, which I'll show you, but it came out looking good. An interesting thing, again, we have the pupils drawn in. That was a very 70s thing to do. Is they had the eyes. They weren't the whited out eyes that on every character anyway. But decent hair mold. Definitely the classic Hal Jordan look. The Lantern logo came out actually pretty decent on there. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure back in the Superfriends, he had the old style costume. I could be wrong, but the old style costume, it was green all the way down, and it was black all the way on the arms. It didn't have the green on the shoulders, but I could be mistaken. That is what he looked like in his first appearance, and I don't remember if they did that for the Superfriends or not. But he doesn't have any kind of belt or anything, of course. We do get, though, the ring. Let's see if we can get a focus in on that. And you can actually see that it does have, maybe, yeah, we actually do have the Lantern logo on there. So that is very cool, very cool. Comparing him, one thing though, I talked about the eyes. The old DC Superpowers figure did have the white eyes though. So, and actually, look at that. It did have the green shoulders. So maybe that is more of what they were basing it off of. He still has his lantern though, but he doesn't. So, but yeah, very cool, very cool. And last, we do have Batman here, still holding his grappling gun, and that is definitely the classic Batman look, where he's got the black in the front. I feel like he might have had the painted on eyebrows back then. Instead, we have a blue nose, but pretty basic Batman head sculpt. I almost feel like he should have been happier. This is before the days of Batman being the Dark Knight. This was the happy-go-lucky Batman. So we got a little bit of flashing from the mold there on his ear. Bummer. Oh well. And he has that same cape that that clips on, and that is a cloth cape as well. The Bat logo came out looking great. I mean, these are actually really well painted, so I like that. And you get the utility belt, looks good, and then not a whole lot more paint detail. His gauntlets, we do get, I got a bent one. I just now saw that. That's a bummer. I could probably heat that up and straighten that out. And this side came out good. So we do get the the gauntlets there with the classic spikes on the side. Man, that one bums me out. I think I can fix that. It's got a stress mark, but I think I can get that back. But yeah, very cool. And unfortunately, I didn't have a Batman figure to show you. So sure, here's Robin. So you can see Batman with Robin. And here, if I do this there, now they look like they're more in scale with each other. But again, superpowers having that cape that just clipped on the neck, so that was definitely very cool. But yeah, I kind of wish they gave us a Robin with the Super Friends, because I'm pretty sure Robin was present in the Super Friends TV show. But yeah, for Batman, he does come with, as I mentioned, the grappling gun there, and it doesn't have actually like any length to it, so I don't know what else you could really do with it. And it looks like this is a little bent too, but yeah, it's just got a grapple, and then he does come with a batarang as well, and that's really nothing fancy. It's just molded plastic. It fits in his hand, so he's got a batarang. Real quick, looking at the scale, they're all the same height, so just looking at Hal Jordan here, we can see that he's at roughly 6 1/4 inches high. And again, they all use the same body mold. It's just a different head mold, so there's not a ton of reason to go into the other detail. And the same thing goes with the articulation here. So real quick, looking at the articulation, you have a head that can go side to side on all the characters. You don't really get them much up and down because of the joint that they use here with the DC Universe style head joints. You do get arms up in a pretty decent T-pose. They can all spin around, no problem. You do have a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow though that doesn't get up very far. You only have wrist swivel. You do not have any kind of wrist articulation there. You do get an ab crunch that's decent. You get back, meh. They all have waist rotation. They do have those funky Mattel leg joints that you get really far spread out, but you have that weird gap down there at the bottom. They can kick forward pretty far, kick backwards, not too bad. They do have, it's not necessarily an upper thigh cut, it's like a just above the knee cut. They do have single jointed knees, and they do have a hinge at the ankle, but no pivot. So somewhat limited articulation with that DC Universe Classics line, and that this is based on. And for a few last minute comparisons, here we have the Super Friends Superman next to the New 52 Superman. Here is Green Lantern next to the DC UC Green Lantern, and you can see we get a power battery with the DC UC version, and we do get the white eyes, and then you do get a darker shade of green, but other than that, the paint style in terms of the line work and everything like that is pretty much the same. And just for fun, here is Hal Jordan next to Fail Jordan. And here are the Super Friends one last time all together on their stands with their character backdrops. And that about does it for this review, guys. And all in all, yeah, I was actually really skeptical about this set because I knew it was just, the same DC UC body molds that we had seen several years ago. I actually don't have a ton of DC UC characters, so that's why I was like, let's get it. But actually, I really like this. I like the classic look of all these characters. I think it's really cool. I do like the backdrop. It would have been cool if we had the rest of the characters, maybe the Flash, Wonder Woman, with that 70s style look to it. But, this is still pretty cool. A Build-A-Figure, I don't know who you would have done with a Build-A-Figure, but I think the backdrops are actually really well done and will look good on a display. So, yeah, all in all, I found actually Batman and Green Lantern at Ollie's. If you have an Ollie's near you, those were just $10 a piece. The other two I did find at Walmart, which I believe this is a Walmart exclusive set. But you can still find these out there, so they are worth picking up, I think, if you do want to get a nice looking set. But anyway, guys, like I said, that does do it for this review. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you have any comments, agree with me, disagree with me, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the review. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching the video, and have a great day.